Welcome back, grade 8 students. Our topic for today is figurative language. So, the question is, what is a figurative language? And to answer that, I have prepared this slide for you. Okay, so here's the answer to my question: what is a figurative language? I'll read it for you. Whenever you describe something by comparing it with something else, you are using figurative language. Any language that goes beyond the literal meaning of words in order to furnish new effects or fresh insight into an idea or an object, or a subject, sorry. The most common figures of speech are simile, metaphor, and alliteration. Okay, so you've probably heard of simile, metaphor before, and even alliteration before. But to make it more simple, basically, a figure of speech, figurative language, uses figure of speech to be more effective, persuasive, and gives it more impact, right? So usually writers, or when story writers, those who actually tend to write a lot, okay, might use this figurative language in order to give it more appeal to the readers, whoever is reading on the other side, right? So, what are the types of figurative language that we are going to be discussing today? We're going to be discussing one, two, three, four, five. Yeah, I have prepared a little note on the side here. So we are going to be discussing five, and the first one is metaphor. So I think you are all very familiar with metaphor, but to explain it, it basically compares two unlike things, okay? It compares two unlike things, but it does not use the words like or as, okay? A metaphor describes something as it is, okay? So it might be hard to understand from that. It will be a lot easier to explain when we have the example. So here's our example for metaphor. So the first one is the contestant's knees were jiggling like jiggling jelly when she stepped forward to take her turn. Another one is the small blonde girl's hair was silk. Okay, so what are the metaphors here? So in the first sentence we have jiggling jelly. Okay, the knees are hard. All right, it's not jiggling jelly. It's not gonna be jelly. The second sentence we have the hair was compared to silk. All right, and it's quite different from silk. Our hair is quite different from silk. So basically, that's it for metaphor. It's just basically comparing one thing to another thing, but those things are completely different from each other, right? So what's next? We have similes. Okay, so simile is just a figure of speech that makes a comparison of two unlike things. Okay, it is quite similar to metaphor, but in metaphor we don't use like or as. Okay, we say it is. Okay, if you go back here, as something as it is. Okay, so basically, to explain it much better, we have this example. Okay, as you can see, every time it is to easily know whether it's a simile or not, you just have to look for as or like. If there's as or like, then automatically it is a simile. So here are the examples we have. The news Paulina received over the phone must have been terrible. She turned limp as a dish rag. Okay, again, the next one we have, the teacher was busy teaching when suddenly an obstinate student interrupted the lesson. The teacher's face reddened like a hot iron. Okay, so we can actually just go for the second sentence here. The teacher's face reddened like a hot iron. Okay, so we have as and like. So it's still comparing two things, but it's completely different from the other examples that we have over here in metaphor. Okay. What's the next one? Personification. Oh, we went to. Oh, I forgot. Never mind. No. Yeah. So personification is basically you're having an object or an item or something like that, right? and you give it human-like characteristics. Okay, so if you read this, it's going to be the same thing that I just have said, but much longer. Okay, so this is a device in which authors give human characteristics to non-human things. Okay, characteristics, sorry. These non-human things could be an animal, a piece of furniture, a stuffed animal, whatever. Okay, as long as it's not human, then you can use personification. So what are the examples of personifications that we have? Okay, so the car groaned as it climbed up the hill. So that example itself, all right, or that sentence itself, a car cannot groan, okay, like a human can groan. The second one, the car made a sound as it went up the hill. So between these two examples, the first one is our personification. Because it's normal if a car makes a sound. Of course, the engine is working, the friction between the tire and the ground is also there. But the car cannot groan, because groaning is a human thing. Okay, so that's just it. Anything you can, how can I say this? Anything that a human can do, if you attach that to a non-living thing or any other thing, even an animal, then that's personification itself. The next one we have is hyperbole. I don't know how to pronounce this, so we're just going to be saying hyperbole. Okay, this is an exaggeration used for effect. So it helps the reader to understand the extent of the emotion, attitude, or feeling. Again, let's go into the example to actually explain it a little bit deeper. So I'm so hungry, I could eat a horse, right? So you're exaggerating, right? How hungry you are. That's how hungry that person is, that he could eat a horse. So the second example, Jan is so tired she could sleep for a week. So again, that's how tired Jan is feeling, right? So the rain that fell on Thursday, fell for 1,000,000 hours. So that's how long it felt like, 1,000,000 hours. Okay, so hyperbole is just expressing how you felt, or but exaggerated. Okay, the last one we have for today is, I am not even going to pronounce that name, but I'm going to try, onomatopoeia. Okay, so it is a word or words that are indicative of a sound that the source of the sound produces. Again, let's go to the examples and it will be a lot easier to understand. So, example we have, the flag flapped in the wind. Okay, so flapped, okay, that makes a sound. When something is flapping, it makes a flapping sound, right? So the flap, okay, is the flapping sound is being produced by the flag, right? So that's onomatopoeia. Sorry for the wrong pronunciation. So the second example we have, I was so nervous that tick tock of my watches reverberated in my brain like gunshots. Okay, so the watch makes a tick tock sounds, right? And then that thump made us jump. So that made someone jump. All right. So again, onomatopoeia is just, let's go back. It's a lot easier. Okay. So it is the sound that the source of the sound produces. Okay. So my phone rang. So that's onomatopoeia because my phone produced the ringing sound. Okay. But both must be there. Okay. The sound and who produced it. Okay. So that's it for our lesson today. I hope you learned something. But that's not everything for this week. Okay. We're also going to be learning conditional sentences. So look out for that. All right, guys. See you in the next one.